They laughed at him before they ever listened. A tall, awkward immigrant with a heavy accent, strange habits, and eyes that seemed to look past people rather than at them. In a world obsessed with practicality and profit, Nikola Tesla arrived with nothing but ideas no one understood, and fewer believed. From the very beginning, the verdict was clear. This man was not meant to succeed. History loves geniuses, but only after they are proven right. Before that, it punishes them. Tesla was not welcomed as a visionary. He was tolerated as a curiosity, dismissed as a dreamer, and quietly expected to fail. Nikola Tesla was born into contradiction, a father who demanded discipline and obedience, a mind that rebelled against limits, a child haunted by vivid visions, flashes of light, rotating machines, entire systems forming fully alive inside his head. He did not design ideas, he endured them. These visions came uninvited, overwhelming, exhausting. They followed him into sleepless nights, into illness, into isolation. While others needed paper, Tesla needed silence. While others tested by a trial and error, he tested in his mind, risking everything on thoughts no one else could see. To the world, this did not look like brilliance. It looked like instability. When he arrived in America, penniless and hopeful, reality hit harder than any childhood vision. He was just another foreign engineer, easily replaceable, easily ignored. Even those who hired him did not truly listen. They wanted labor, not imagination. Obedience, not obsession. Tesla spoke of forces unseen, of systems too elegant for the crude machinery of the age. And every time he spoke, the room grew colder. He did not fit. He could not simplify. He refused to compromise. Loneliness wrapped itself around him quietly, not as drama, but as routine. Then came the betrayal, a promise made casually, a reward implied, then denied. Months of exhausting work ended not with recognition, but laughter. In that moment, Tesla understood something devastating. Talent alone would not save him. The world did not reward vision. It rewarded power, and Tesla had none. So what happens to a man who sees the future, but lives in a world determined to ignore him? Was this the moment Nikola Tesla truly failed? Or the moment he began to break away from everything holding him down? Nikola Tesla did not quit the job. He walked away from it. No dramatic speech, no final argument. Just a quiet understanding that he was wasting his life inside rooms that could not contain his mind. He left with empty pockets and a burning certainty. If he stayed, he would disappear. New York did not care. The city swallowed men like Tesla every day. Inventors, dreamers, immigrants who arrived believing thought alone could change their fate. Most ended the same way, forgotten, exhausted, erased. Tesla slept where he could, worked where he was allowed, dug ditches with hands that imagined invisible forces twisting through space. At night, surrounded by noise and smoke, he returned to the only place that felt safe, his mind. There, machines spun perfectly. There, systems worked without friction. There, failure did not exist. But imagination does not pay rent. When Tesla spoke, people grew uneasy. He did not explain. He declared. He did not persuade. He assumed truth would be enough. It never was. Investors wanted guarantees. He offered visions. Engineers wanted diagrams. He offered certainty. They smiled politely and stepped away. Tesla began to understand the cruelty of genius. It isolates before it elevates. Every rejection carved deeper into him. Not anger, something worse. Doubt. What if they were right? What if his ideas were too fragile, too strange, too detached from reality? Even alone, Tesla argued with himself. He replayed conversations that never happened, defended ideas to rooms that no longer existed, and still, he refused to simplify. Then, one evening, everything changed. Inside a dark lecture hall, sparks tore through the air. Light cracked violently between metal and silence. Gasps filled the room as something ancient awakened. Not a machine, but a possibility. For the first time, people did not laugh. They stared. In that moment, Tesla tasted something unfamiliar. Attention. But attention is not loyalty, and admiration fades faster than belief. As applause echoed, Tesla stood calm, almost distant, already sensing the danger ahead. Because now that his ideas had power, others would want to own them. And Tesla had never learned how to protect himself. When the world finally began to listen, would Nikola Tesla gain control of his destiny, or lose it completely to those who understood money better than truth? Nikola Tesla never wanted a war. He wanted understanding. But history does not ask gentle minds what they want. It throws them into conflict and watches how they break. As Tesla's ideas began to attract attention, another presence grew heavier around him. Loud, practical, relentless. A man who spoke the language of industry, not imagination. A man who believed progress was something you could own. Thomas Edison. Where Tesla was quiet, Edison was theatrical. Where Tesla trusted ideas, Edison trusted control. Where Tesla worked alone in silence, Edison surrounded himself with noise, factories, and men who followed orders. The world understood Edison immediately. It did not understand Tesla at all. Their conflict was never just technical. It was philosophical. A battle between two visions of humanity, one driven by dominance, the other by harmony. Tesla believed power should flow freely, like nature itself. Edison believed power should obey whoever held the switch. As the struggle intensified, Tesla felt something unfamiliar tightening inside him. Resentment, not because he was losing, but because he was being misrepresented, mocked publicly, questioned privately, reduced to a caricature, the eccentric dreamer who could not deliver. Pamphlets ridiculed him, rumors spread quietly through boardrooms, and behind closed doors, decisions were made without him. Tesla did not fight back the way others would have. He did not negotiate. He did not manipulate. He withdrew. Nights grew longer. Meals were skipped. His routines became rituals, precise, obsessive, unyielding. He began counting steps, avoiding touch, repeating actions until they felt safe. The world called this odd behavior. Tesla felt it was survival. Inside his mind, the pressure was unbearable. Every loss echoed louder than the last. Every compromise he refused cost him another ally. And yet, he could not stop, because to compromise his ideas felt like self-destruction. At the height of the conflict, when victory might have been within reach, Tesla made a decision no strategist would ever advise. He let go. He tore up contracts, walked away from potential wealth, abandoned power rather than watch it twisted into something he despised. To observers, it looked like madness. To Tesla, it was the only way to remain whole. But idealism is expensive, and soon the cost would become unbearable. What kind of man chooses principle over survival? And how long can such a man endure before the world finally breaks him? Nikola Tesla did not retreat from the world all at once. He faded. It began subtly. Unanswered letters, declined invitations, conversations cut short before they could become personal. Success had finally brushed against his life, but instead of grounding him, it pushed him further inward. Fame exhausted him. Attention disturbed the delicate order he had built to survive. He moved through hotels like a ghost, always alone, always precise. Every habit became a rule. Every rule became a shield. He washed his hands repeatedly, refused to touch objects others had handled, counted, calculated, avoided, not out of fear, but control. Control was the only thing he had left. Inside his rooms, light danced violently. Coils screamed. Sparks leapt through the air like living creatures. To visitors, it looked like wonder. To Tesla, it was communion. Here, the world made sense again. But outside those walls, time was moving on without him. Younger men arrived with louder voices and simpler promises. Investors grew impatient. They wanted results they could sell, not visions that demanded belief. Tesla spoke less at meetings. When he did speak, eyes drifted away. The loneliness sharpened. He dined alone every night, sitting at the same table, feeding crumbs to pigeons he trusted more than people. They did not interrupt. They did not betray. They returned. Human relationships, by contrast, felt chaotic, unpredictable, dangerous. Tesla told himself this isolation was temporary, necessary, that once the work was finished, once the ideas were complete, he would rejoin the world. But the work never ended. Each breakthrough revealed 10 new problems. Each solved question exposed deeper mysteries. Sleep became optional. Meals became interruptions. His body weakened while his mind refused to slow down. At night, doubts crept in, not about the truth of his ideas, but about his place in the world that refused to carry them forward. He watched others profit from fragments of thoughts he had once shared freely. He recognized his own visions wearing someone else's name, and still he did nothing, because to fight would require becoming someone he despised. So he stayed alone with the light, believing that history someday would understand what his present could not. But history is slow, and isolation is not kind. The fall did not arrive as a collapse. It arrived as silence. Nikola Tesla did not wake up one morning to find himself ruined. He woke up to find himself irrelevant. Funding stopped quietly. Letters went unanswered. Invitations ceased. His name, once spoken with curiosity, was now mentioned with a faint smile, the kind reserved for men who had outlived their moment. Reporters still came, but their questions had changed. They no longer asked what he was building. They asked why he was alone. They described his habits instead of his work, his appearance instead of his ideas, the pigeons, the rituals, the isolation. Tesla watched himself slowly turn into a story others told, one he no longer controlled. Hotels downgraded him room by room. Luxury turned into necessity. Necessity turned into debt. He sold medals, then equipment, then memories disguised as possessions. Each object carried a fragment of a life once filled with promise. Letting them go felt less like loss and more like amputation. And still, he kept working. In notebooks few would ever read, he continued refining ideas with the same obsessive care. He believed usefulness was not measured by recognition. That truth did not expire just because the world grew impatient. But belief does not keep the lights on. As years passed, the gap between Tesla and the world widened into something unbridgeable. Science moved forward, loudly, publicly, while Tesla moved inward, silently. People no longer argued with him. They pitied him, and pity to a man like Tesla was unbearable. Yet even now, even as doors closed and history began rewriting him as a cautionary tale, Tesla refused bitterness. He spoke gently, carefully, as if words themselves might break under the weight of resentment. He had given everything to ideas that would outlive him. And now, he was watching himself disappear long before death arrived. What remained was not rage, but exhaustion, a quiet acceptance that perhaps the price of seeing too far ahead was walking the rest of the journey alone. Nikola Tesla died alone. No crowds gathered outside his door. No headlines announced the end of a great mind. Just a quiet hotel room, carefully arranged exactly as he liked it. When they found him, everything was in order. His bed, his notes, his habits, preserved to the end. Even in death, he refused chaos. The world barely noticed. A brief mention in the papers, a polite acknowledgement of a strange life. Then, silence again. But silence has a way of changing meaning with time. As years passed, fragments of Tesla's work resurfaced, quietly embedded inside systems that reshaped the modern world. Ideas once dismissed as impractical became essential. Concepts mocked as fantasy became infrastructure. And slowly, uncomfortably, history began to look back. Not with apology, but with awe. They called him a genius now, a visionary, a man ahead of his time. But those words came too late to matter. No article could give him back the years of isolation. No recognition could undo the loneliness, the hunger, the quiet erosion of dignity. The world finally understood what it had lost. But Tesla had already paid the full price. His life stands as a warning written in human terms that progress often feeds on those it refuses to protect, that society celebrates results, not the people who endure to create them. Nikola Tesla did not fail because his ideas were wrong. He failed because the world demanded that vision come with obedience, and he could offer only truth. So the question remains, long after the lights have come on and the machines keep running without his name attached to them, how many minds like his are dismissed, ignored, or broken, simply because they arrive before the world is ready to listen?